Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for only paying for myself when my fiance and future in-laws invited me to a NYE dinner at a scale restaurant. I, a 32-year-old girl, just became engaged to Sam, male 37. In the meanwhile, we aren't living together while we await marriage since he and his family are really conservative Christians, but they're also exceptionally great and caring individuals. Originally, I had intended to spend New Year's Eve with Sam, but when I called him, he claimed to be out with his parents for a New Year's Eve dinner party. He then contacted me again, inviting me to come with him, which I'd eagerly accepted. They welcomed me and ordered a variety of delicacies, desserts, and drinks on my behalf. His parents were also there. We had a fantastic night partying until it was time to pay the bill. It was at this point that I removed my money from my rucksack and told him that we would split the check between us. "No, you don't have to, you were invited," Sam scoffed, but I insisted on continuing. He and his parents both glanced at me, and when I inquired as to what was wrong, both his mother-in-law and father-in-law said that they did not have any money on them. My amazement prompted me to seek help from Sam, who disclosed that he had also left his wallet at home and had not brought enough money to cover even a single round of cocktails. "All right, then I suppose we should let the doctor pay," his father said, a little too loudly before laughing. It took me by surprise. I expressed my displeasure by saying, "I'm sorry, but this is just too much money for one meal by myself," despite the fact that I did not feel I was expected to cover the whole bill. Sam proposed that I pay up front and he would reimburse me later, but I objected since I knew he would have to get a job in order to pay that much money. I apologized, but this isn't the first time he and his family have put me in a position where I'm expected to save them after they've forgotten their wallets and expect others to pay hundreds of dollars for their expensive supper. I'm not sure what it is about him and his family that puts me in this position. My response to his and his family's surprise was that I would just pay for what I had brought with me, and that was all. However, they began arguing that I had the ability to pay right away, but was behaving as if they were strangers rather than family. But that does not obligate me to pay, and how could someone go out to a beautiful restaurant and order so many meals, desserts, and beverages without having any money on them? Sam pleaded with me to complete it and call it a night, but I was steadfast in my refusal. When the argument turned heated, I rose to my feet and walked out of the room. In the early hours of the morning, Sam called to complain that I had spoiled his parents' New Year's Eve celebration by refusing to pay the whole cost and instead behaving selfishly and paying just for myself after they had been gracious enough to invite me. I explained to him that it was unfair for me to be expected to pay since just because I earn a good salary does not imply that I want to spend it all on an expensive dinner. He didn't say anything. Instead, he just said that he hoped my parents would be able to put things behind them and not hold it against me after I had virtually damaged their relationship with me. I was mortified when I realized that I should have paid the bill instead of leaving without paying it. AITA. Story 2. AITA for pulling out of my brother's wedding because my old bullies will be there. B and F aren't horrible people at heart, in my opinion. B just wants me to attend his wedding, and F, despite our history, has grown to be fairly lovely and has made steps to mend her connection with me. We're still not best friends, but I appreciated her efforts enough to assist with the wedding. This new discovery is just too emotionally heated. B says he'll stop talking about it for now, but he's reserving me a place at the wedding anyway, and he hopes it won't be empty. Things is the most I can hope for right now, and I'm hoping we can work it out before the wedding. My brother B is getting married, and his fiancée F attended the same high school as I did. In high school, I was severely tormented and had no friends, which led to a terrible time of melancholy and anxiety. I currently mostly cope with it by repressing those memories and avoiding touch with folks I knew in high school. F used to be a member of a horrible female clique that was very cruel to me, although to be fair, she was more of a follower in the group. She never explicitly bullied me, but she would laugh along with her clique when they made fun of me. When B began dating F, I was stunned and had a difficult time coping with it since it reminded me of what her clique used to do to me. If I bring up anything they did, F typically simply laughs it off, claiming she doesn't remember and that they were probably just young and dumb at the time. It took a lot of persuasion from B and a lot of time spent working on myself for me to ultimately forgive F and accept her as my brother's girlfriend. B and F have now gotten engaged, and B has asked me to be his best woman. I accepted, and even volunteered to assist with F's side of the wedding celebrations since her MOH is overburdened. So far, the wedding preparation has gone nicely, until F informed me that she intends to invite her high school clique to her baccalaureate party when she is able to do so. I instantly felt the same dread return, and I asked her whether they would also be invited to the wedding. She replied yes, and the realization almost devastated me. I gave it some thought, and I don't believe I'll be able to attend the wedding if those folks are there. F has never tormented me, so I can deal with it, but seeing her gang leaders again would very certainly trigger my depression or, worse, throw me into a panic attack during the wedding. I informed B that I may have to back out of the wedding due of this, but I can still assist with the wedding preparations in any way I can as long as I don't come into touch with F's old crew. B is unhappy and claims that I'm just thinking of myself, and that I plainly don't want to attend his wedding, because I still don't accept F as his future bride. He also advised me to move on from whatever occurred in high school, but even if I did, a high-stress occasion like his wedding would be the worst moment to see whether moving on works. 8 update. Hello, everyone. This update may not be very exciting, but since I couldn't address all of the questions in my last post due to a temporary ban, and some people did ask for updates, I'd want to provide some type of almost closure. As I said in my last piece, I do not believe F is a nasty person. After our difficult start, she worked extremely hard to become closer to me. It's a lot of subtle steps that I can't articulate, but one example is how she made a point of remembering my favorite cuisine to prepare or finding out what I enjoy to assist B pick out things for me. I appreciated the effort, which is why I overcame my initial dislike of the relationship, even though she never explicitly apologized to me. For weeks after I blogged, the atmosphere was tight. I seldom spoke to B, and when our mother found out I didn't want to attend the wedding, she became enraged. The strange thing was that our mother's rage really turned B around. I once told B that while I was being bullied, my mother urged me to simply get over it. So when she was raving at me for being selfish, B snapped and told her it was partially her responsibility as well. There were many tears shed over a few days, but in the end, I was able to tell B all that had happened. B persuaded Mom to back off and assured me he wouldn't be furious or push me any longer, but he still wanted me to attend his wedding if I felt better. What occurred next to F was the most startling. I didn't speak to her after I reunited with B since it was too uncomfortable for both of us, and her baccalaureate celebration went on without me. F eventually reached out after the party. When her old clique came to the celebration, she had everyone write an apology to me. She handed me an apologetic letter signed by both of them and herself, as well as notes from the females who wished to add their own apologies. It was odd to get those comments, and reading them took me days because I kept sobbing. To be honest, I'm still not sure how I feel about them or how much they truly helped. But I thought that this was definitely an attempt to fix things from F's end and that I should meet them halfway. My objective now is to attempt to make it to the wedding since that B and F have completed their duties. Having said that, I'm still concerned about my mental state on the actual day, and I'm talking to B about backup plans in case I don't feel well enough by then. I'm considering treatment and have met with 2 different therapists. Neither seems quite right yet, since I'm still uncomfortable talking about what occurred, but I'm actively seeking for solutions to my problems. This is certainly one of the best outcomes for my circumstance, and I'm glad I had B back on my side. Those who have come out with their own bullying experiences, please know that you are in my thoughts and prayers, and I really hope that we can all get better together. Please take care of yourself and remain strong. I'm going to log out of this throwaway and read the comments while logged out, so please forgive me if I miss any posts. Thank you very much.